Hey guys, Musa here from Quantum Home Improvements and Solutions. Welcome to our Brew Tasting Live Chat. And we've got with us Chicken Nugget, Giuseppe, Peter Guy, Joseph Suka, and we've got one more guy coming, William West. So anyway, so we're going to now taste all the brews that I've been making over the last year. So we've got the Pale Ale, or the Real Ale, Honey Mead, what else is there? The Australian Pale Ale with 7.2%, and the Mexican Cerveza, which is the video I went live with last night. Anyway, so guys, thanks for coming.
Good to be here, Musa.
Thanks, Musa. Yeah, thanks.
Great to have you. This is a long time coming, isn't it?
Yes.
Giuseppe, thanks for reaching out to us. Oh yeah, sorry. Mary, sorry guys. Can you press the button on the sound? That's it, thank you. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, so yeah, long time coming, so I'm really looking forward to this. There's a few things I wanted to talk about. So we just got to wait a few minutes for Bill to be here. He shouldn't be too long. I'll keep my phone out just to see if he's sending me a message. Okay, so Giuseppe, I just wanted to start with you. Yep. So you reached out to me. You've been really very supportive of my videos, and I really appreciate that. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And so Giuseppe had a huge following on Google Plus, and I didn't know too much about Google Plus, but yeah, was it a big sort of thing back at the time?
It was, yeah. It was a new thing that Google, a new platform Google put out. And it's similar to kind of Facebook, but you don't have friends, you actually follow people.
Yeah.
And my niche was photography, so
Yeah.
I was really into photography going back for about 10 years ago now.
But you've got some videos on YouTube, I've seen.
I've got a few videos, yeah. I do a bit of plane spotting as well, so
Yeah.
I have some plane spotting videos and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, started throwing a few photos out there, and getting a lot of likes and a lot of comments on them, and
You had 500,000 followers, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's how I got the verification through YouTube. A lot of people ask me how you verify it.
Yeah.
And I went to Google a few times, organised a few photo walks, and they started to verify me as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Google.
Let's hope I can get to 500,000 subscribers. And thanks to all you guys who are supporting this channel. I really do appreciate it. This is a new career for me, and yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the future. So we've just got Bill West coming in, William West. Hey, Bill. So this is, Peter Guy. This is Giuseppe.
Hi, Giuseppe.
You've got Chicken Nugget, and you've got Joseph. So, okay, we're going to get straight into it. The first beer I'd like to taste is the Real Ale. Now, we are cheating here because we had State of Origin last Wednesday, and I was telling Pete that the beers... Go the Blues! And I saw people we were drinking 1-year-old Pale Ale. Then when I went to put the beer in the fridge ready for today to taste, I realised we were drinking Real Ale. So you already cheated, you already tasted it.
I have tasted it, so I won't let it in your way, but there was a bit of taste at the end of the game, Musa. It had nothing to do with your beer. It had to do with some of those Queenslanders, some of their tactics. But New South Wales did throw it away. Unfortunately, it was some of the Panthers players that literally threw the ball away. Yeah.
It's always next year.
Always next year.
George, you didn't risk it cuts Giuseppe. Okay, so just give us an idea what you think of the beer. If I don't give you enough, let me know. And
drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly, please. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Okay. Oh. Wow. I remember when I was making this brew, if you look back at the video, I said that the brew was dark. And it's much darker than a pale ale. So this is the Real Ale. I really do like this beer. After the State of Origin, I realised there was something different with the beer. And when I finally realised it was the Real Ale, I sort of woke up to it.
It's a great beer.
Is that right?
Yeah, over 30 years ago.
Wow.
And the attraction was it's cheap because we just married and I didn't have money. I couldn't afford that beer. So I got into this and I used to brew it with just sugar.
Wow.
It came out very well, even just with sugar. So.
I'm using obviously I'm using a lot of Google, I'm using a lot of Cooper's products, and so I'm using the number 2 enhancer.
Yes, I'm sure that's much better.
I think the enhancer, and I could be wrong on this,
Yes.
but I think it's got some malt in it. So
Oh, yes, it does.
yeah, thank you. I thought it did because it looks like it. I haven't read the ingredients, and I probably should. So anyway, this is my hat from last night's video. I thought I'd just put it out there. So what do you think, guys? Peter, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so it's got definitely taste the pale and the real, so the real feel to me is all that English type taste.
Yeah.
And if you're someone that enjoys a lager, you'll feel a bit of a kick from that.
Yeah.
But the question was, with the real lager, I think you accidentally bought this, is that right? Is this one of the
That's
ones
exactly
you
right.
You accidentally bought the wrong tin?
That's it. Thanks. You've got a good memory, but so what had happened, we were going through COVID, and I had to order it online.
Yeah.
And so I ordered 2 pale ales, Australian pale ale, which is my favourite beer, and that was going to be my first video.
Yeah.
Went to pick it up, it was pick and collect, picked it up, came home, didn't look at it, went to make the beer, read the pack and think, it's the wrong one.
Yeah.
Stuff it, I'll make a new beer. And can I tell you, I'm really happy I made it. 2 reasons. First of all, I didn't realise it was that popular. And second of all, it tastes great.
Yeah.
If you look at the following, it's hit 13,000 views. Now, that's not a lot for YouTube, but I'm only a new YouTuber. And so that video is actually perpetual. It's going really well. I'm getting around 50 to 80 hits a day. So I'm happy with that video. And as the channel grows, the hits will grow and grow. So I'm really happy with that. Yeah. I'm just going to ask, we had problems with our sound last time. Can I just ask if anyone out there, if you can hear us, if you can just send us a message? And we'll just wait. Giuseppe, because you're closer, if you just let me know if anyone comes up with a message on there. Yeah. Right. Okay, we've just been told they can hear us.
Colour's good, head retention's good, smells good,
Is it on?
tastes good.
Thank you. Sorry, I had the technical team ask me questions. Okay, Giuseppe, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it. I like the goodness to it. I like the
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said in the video. I usually be a bit bitter.
Yeah.
And I prefer, sweeter beers.
Yeah.
I actually like it. But saying that, Bill makes a lot of boutique beers. And on my first video, right at the end, I said I'd like to get Bill on one of my videos. And then I had a chat with him a few days later. He said, Musa, look, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So, but instead I got him on a live chat. So that's fantastic. Bill's been making beer for a long time and making it from scratch. And he makes a lot of boutique beer. We had some guys come over one night. There was 4 of us, I think 5 of us. And Bill brought some of his dark, I think it was the Guinnesses or the.
It was actually, maybe I had some Guinness today.
He had some dark beer.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I'm not good with dark beer. And anyway, so I gave it a sip. And I've got to be honest, you put a bit of fruitiness in there.
Yeah.
Wow, that was magic.
Yes. There's some galaxy hops.
Okay.
The great thing is, if you go back to the brain, to go right back to the basics, you can create a beer that really feels just your taste. And first time I did that, I actually wanted to do a little creatures IPA.
Yeah.
I went to a supplier named Patrick Casey. He now has a beer that he markets called Casey's Beer, and he does all sorts of varieties and stuff. But I said I wanted to duplicate the little creatures IPA. He said, why would you want to do that? I like it, and he said, just follow your taste,
Yeah.
Experiment, and you'll get a beer that you really love. I did. I got a great beer, and the thing that I've learned most about all this is that the hops are really important. The more hops you put in a recipe, hops are a relaxant.
Is that right?
Yeah, and the more hops there, the more you relax, and you don't drink as much as you used to.
Wow.
To get that same effect, you just get very relaxed. I've been to parties and stuff, just I'm studying and being completely my wife is really impressed.
Right?
How did they get that fruity taste?
Well, it's the hops. Galaxy is my favourite because that's really fruity. Yeah.
How many different hops are there?
Oh,
There's a million of them. I've heard so many of them.
Probably about 50 really good ones.
Okay.
So you could just work your way through. If you live long enough to get there.
Okay, so George, what do you think? You've drunk your whole cup, so
Well, that's good news. So, I think for me, the fundamentals will always essentially when it comes comes down to the slow, it's the
Yeah.
smell, the taste.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, the taste, as you mentioned. Bill.
Yeah.
I've got to say, your beers, there's a function of them, are fantastic.
Look, these are Coopers. I'm not going to take the thunder of that. These are Coopers beers.
Yeah, I agree with the way you put together.
Yeah.
But overall, as a word there, it's the taste,
Yeah.
the smell, and overall the texture.
Okay, I'm going to add to that. So what you're saying there, if you follow the recipe of Coopers, you're not going to go wrong. First of all, if you follow the recipe, and there's a bit of a learning curve for me making these videos because I've had a few people give me comments. And Frank from Coopers has been fantastic. He and I have chatted a number of times, and he gives me some really good ideas how to get the best out of the Coopers beers, right? And so I had to change the formula of beers a little, and he gave me the direction of what I need to take. But then also, in the eastern seaboard of Australia, you've got Country Brewers. I don't know if you've been there, Pete. Now, they're fantastic. Dee from here in Nepean, she is great. So you get all the right comments, and they tell you all these things you should be doing. Okay, I'm going to tell you straight away, if you do change from the recipe and it goes wrong, the Coopers will wash their hands from you because you're just not following the recipe. If you're going to do it the smart way. Know what you're doing. So for me, I will never pretend to be an expert on beer, but I'm an expert on something else, on following procedures. And that's why when you watch my videos, you'll see everything is followed in a procedure and done well. That's how you do a good beer. Follow the procedure.
Yeah.
When you start getting good at it, venture out and become another Bill, and you will get it. And Peter makes his own beer, he makes his own Coopers, and you alter the recipe. You told me the other day you leave it sit for 12 days.
Yeah. I think the Moose, I prefer to it as a bit of a cake mix. So
Yeah.
the great thing about Coopers is it's like a cake mix. You can follow it well. You make sure that everything's sterile and you're using the actual instructions as well. But then, as you said, well, you can opt in add a hops to it as well.
Yeah.
If you want to use some grain as well, add some grain to it, and you could leave it a little bit longer.
So when you add hops, you've got to boil it up. You've got to boil it up. Haven't you?
Yes, you do.
You've got to boil it up. You've got to sit for a while.
There's a trick there too. If you're using grains and hops and you go right back to the beginning and you boil the whole of the before, it's very important to get the oxygen back in. Before you actually
Ferment.
ferment.
Yeah.
Because with beer making, it's actually in the beginning, it's an aerobic process.
Yeah.
It needs oxygen in the water.
Yeah.
If you taste the beer that hasn't been, it's been boiled, it hasn't been oxygenated, it will taste like antiseptic. I've done that.
Okay.
But the first time I did that, I thought, oh, this is the worst beer I've ever made.
Yeah.
And then I discovered that. And the easiest way to do it is get one of these things,
Yeah.
a paddle, connect it up to just a
drill.
cordless drill,
Yeah.
and give it a minute or two.
Yeah.
And that'll get the oxygen back into it. And then you
During the boiling process or
no, after.
When it's cooled down?
After you cool it down.
Yeah, okay.
You do that. And then, of course, it goes in with the airlock.
Yeah.
And that keeps the oxygen out because you don't want oxygen to keep coming through during the process. You know? So that's really the two things.
What was that paddle for you?
Yes, that's
right. So guys, we're going to try another beer. I'm going to jump through because we've got a few to get through, but I'm going to ask you to just add some cheese just to get some of that taste out of your mouth so we can go to the next beer. So just grab some cheese, crackers, peanuts, whatever it is. All different type of cheeses here. So sorry that we're eating on camera.
And a shout out to Coopers.
Big shout out to Coopers. Thanks very much, guys.
I'm going to say, Bill, you mentioned the beginners that you make and some of the beers you make.
Yeah.
Must have a great concoction at home, an inventory of beers at home.
Well, I have that. I haven't been that well over the past couple of years, so I haven't been doing any brewing. But I'm eager to get back to it. And I'm actually going to start with a cookbook can, just use that as a base. And as you say, add a little bit of grain and the hops. You can come up with some really good
Yeah.
beer that way. Yeah.
It's definitely a lot easier to buy a container, do the brew, and just, a lot of my videos, I say quick and easy. Some guy, a troll the other day, said, oh mate, it's not quick and easy, your sanitizer, it's this, that, and the other. And I have been thinking about changing my sanitizer. In actual fact, it's not even called sanitizer, it's called sterilizer. Okay, so they're telling me to go to a sanitizer, and I'm using a sterilizer. Okay. Now there's two processes. Talking to Dee the other day from Country Brewers, I said, Dee, you've got to clear this up for me because I want to change from Brigalo's sodium metabized sulfate, change from that to something that's quicker. Okay. But the beer itself is very quick to make.
Yeah.
It's like 35-minute process, and then you bottle it later. Now, if I quicken the sterilizing process, then it'll be even easier. So I'm going to mention it now because I'm talking about it. So here's a new packet I bought from Country Brewers. I'm just learning how to say this, so please forgive me. But it's chlorinated trisodium phosphate, and so that is actually a sterilizer, not a sanitizer. And so apparently all the beer makers, the professional beer makers, are using this product, not Country Brewers, but the actual ingredients. Okay, and so the Brigalo's works really well, but I'm going to go to this because this is a quick sterilizing. Now, the thing everyone's telling me to go to is Starzan and Stilazan. Okay, that's fine, but that is a sanitizer, not a sterilizer. Okay, I'm very thorough, so I'm going to go to a sterilizer, but then I'm going to use, and again, part of my, actually, Bill, you probably be able to read that better.
Phosphoric acid.
Phosphoric acid, thank you. Then I'm going to spray the bottles and everything else with phosphoric acid, which is a sanitizer. So the sterilizer is what kills everything. Okay, the sanitizer is just in case there's any airborne particles and just cleans the surface. There's a big difference between them. So I've done my research now, so I will not be going to a Starzan or Stilazan, which are very similar products. I'll be going to this product. Okay, but apparently it's quick and easy. And I did buy this little gadget. It's made in Italy, so Giuseppe will be pretty happy about that. And so this is a bottle cleaner. Okay, so it's only a very basic gadget. I bought it from Country Brewers. Yeah, so you use one of it? Okay, so yeah, I've gone to that. I've just bought the packet the other day, make it a bit easier for me.
Then Mercer, with the sanitizer you've got there from Country Brewer,
Yeah.
I use that in a spray can.
Yep.
Spray piece.
Yes, that's right. You put it.
And use it throughout the brewing.
That's right.
Process, as Bill was saying,
Yeah.
stirring, you get the oxidization. Just making sure that you're using the sanitizer.
Yeah, and you can actually brew with that. You don't have to clean it off. You just spray it, and then you can add your ingredients.
That's right.
So that's great, and that's what. But you can't with this. You have to wash that out.
That's clean.
Yeah. Okay. So everything then is sterilised, and then you get sanitised. So it's a two-part process. I've learned that good brewers actually do a two-part process, and I didn't know that. I've just been doing the thorough process, not the sanitise. Okay. So we're always learning. I'm always learning, and I love that part. I was even saying to Giuseppe, he made a comment on that I know a lot, and that's actually not true. I just keep learning, and all of us should just learn. I mean, it's great. It's great, right? Now, okay, so I'm going to jump ahead because we've got a lot to go through. So the second one we'd like to try is a two-part, okay, which is the honey mead. Now, Jeff, Deacon Jeff now, was the one who inspired me to make this. I'm just going to stop a second. Just can you just tell me those messages if there's any messages for us? Sorry about that. Okay, so Deacon Jeff.
We have someone from Scotland.
Is that right?
Yeah, Scotland in England. So someone from England also listening through.
Beautiful. Hey guys.
Anytime.
So just for the new viewers, this is Quantum Home Improvements, and welcome to our Brew tasting live chat. So we've got William West, Peter Guy, Giuseppe, Chicken Nugget, and Joseph Suka. And Joseph's very quiet here, but he won't be in a minute when I ask him some questions. Okay, so we're going to now talk about honey mead. Deacon Jeff inspired me to make it. He supplied the honey, $180 worth of honey. And so these are for our local church in St. Mary's. And so I bought the bottles for Father Brendan. So we're going to taste this honey mead. Now, this is what we made, okay? This here, Deacon Jeff has asked me to put more honey in it because this is going to be very dry. This is the original, and this has been honey added. Now, when you add honey to mead, you have to kill off the yeast. So we've used the Camden tablets. Dee has suggested I use it 4 weeks before I add the honey. So I've done that. So this should be following the process of Dee. She's very thorough, and so am I. And hopefully I've got it right. So I'm going to try the honey mead, and then I'm going to try the honey mead plus. Okay, so I don't think you're gonna need too much of this because this is almost 20%.
Wow.
Okay, so we're just gonna need a little, just, if you, everyone just pull out their cups and I'll just pour them out.
Once again, drink responsibly.
Thanks, George.
While you're pouring this, can you tell us about Bill's book?
Yeah, I want to talk about it in a minute. Yeah, I want to jump into that because we'll just make it to another cup, George. Sorry, I just don't want to contaminate.
Very sweet.
It smells sweet. You should see the next one then. Okay. So this, to me, because I had tried it during the process, has like a spirit taste to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can still taste the honey a little bit, not excessively, but to me it tastes dry. Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
It's dry. It is dry.
It's not over sweet.
Yeah. I like it.
Very,
I was expecting very strong honey taste.
yeah, it's,
Well, the next one I haven't tasted, so that's going to be very interesting. So, for you who do not know what honey mead is, and going by what Deacon Jeff and what the research I've done on it, honey mead is an ancient beer and it was brewed in Asia, Africa, and Europe. And the Vikings were really keen on that. I really never heard of it until Deacon Jeff told me about it. So we made the video. It hasn't been a big hit purely because it hasn't got a name behind it. Cooper's videos have got a name, so it goes well. So anyway, if you haven't seen the video, this is a real easy wine to make, and it's actually quite tasty. And a bottle of this size would cost you in a shop around about $20. So it's up there, I think, with the wines. Yeah.
someone just commented and said bottoms up. Again, bottoms up, but responsibly.
I think not sure of the history, but as you said, it's going back to 2000.
Yeah.
Prior to, when beer was actually first brewed.
Yeah.
Some of those original brewed or liquids or using certain grains, etc., which is where I suppose beer has come from.
Yeah.
So it's ancient in its roots, but very, very different to what a beer would be. Right?
That's fantastic.
You wouldn't expect to be doing a stuffy on a party night. I think it's probably like a small glass.
Yeah.
Oils. Yeah.
Well, saying that, I want to try this one. Okay, so this is the plus. Yeah. Change your cups. And just again, we don't need to go too much on this. This has been diluted. I would say at a guess, I did not put a hydrometer to it, so I was in a bit of a hurry. I did this yesterday. I would say it's probably around 15%. So it's closer to a normal wine, I would say. Now, there is a bit of a story to honey mead, and this is what Brother or Deacon Jeff was telling us on the video. In medieval times, candles were the light, the night light.
Yeah.
So bees were kept not for the honey more so, but for candle making. And the best, or one of the best mead makers in the world are monks. And so they formulated, because they needed candles all the time for the church, they had a lot of honey left over, so it became a byproduct of what they really wanted, which was the wax. And so what they did, they brew up a whole heap of honey mead, and when someone gets married, and back in those times everyone was getting married, and so they would give them a month's worth of honey mead. And so the word honeymoon comes from honey mead. Yeah. Yeah. And I looked that up, by the way, and I found that that's correct.
It's correct.
It's correct. It's historical.
Could have said it's got a really nice tinny taste.
Wow, that's different, isn't it?
It's
I didn't expect that.
Really good, nice and sweet.
Much sweeter than
Honey taste.
Not those cool wines.
Tastes like
Wow. Giuseppe, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a lot darker than the first one we tried. Look,
Yeah, I noticed you looked at the cups.
yeah. So it's good.
Tastes great, doesn't it? I'm surprised. I like sweet beers and wines. I mean,
So what are the ingredients? What are this?
pure honey.
Just pure honey? And
Yeah. Okay, so
the alcohol comes from the sugar and the honey. Is that?
yeah, it's just feeding off the honey.
Yeah.
And so when you're making it, I wrote these notes here because it's too hard to remember everything. I did put a link in this live chat if you want to watch the video on how to make the honey mead. But I'm actually quite surprised now. It's throwing me off a bit. Okay, so the honey I used was Ferrigio's. He's a local guy that makes the honey. And I'm just going to see here. So you've got to put yeast nutrients first. Okay, first it's a 4 gram packet, 1 teaspoon. And then I use TCB, wine, champagne yeast, all purpose. That's all it is. It's pretty basic.
Honey.
Wow.
Honey and nutrients.
Yeah, well, it's very natural,
And
right?
you keep thinking that.
Yeah, it's nice and sweet, but a nice tangy taste to it.
I am actually surprised. I'm actually surprised.
So
Wow.
with this one, this was the mead.
With the extra honey.
Was
So 2
extra
kilos,
honey.
yeah. I put 8 kilos originally with brother Jeff, 4 kilos.
Okay.
We boiled it up for 2 hours
Yeah.
to get rid of all the yeast in it, kill off any kind of bacteria.
Okay.
Then we let it cool down, and then we make the brew according to D from Country Brewer's recipe. I've used the recipe. If you watch the video, you'll see there's a link to the recipe. So yeah, it's quite easy.
Yeah.
And I've got a link there for D.
I've got a comment come through from John Jensen saying that he has had issues with it. So.
Is that right?
Yeah, he just said through he's had a hard time with his Jeffrey, so maybe.
We might need to shout out just because the microphone. We had trouble last month, and we found that the Yeti microphone was corrupt in the video. So if you guys can hear us, if you just give us the thumbs up, I'll try to put the volume up.
I can hear you.
Excellent. Thanks, Pete. Is hitting volume somewhere?
Yeah.
Is that volume?
That's speakers.
That's Victor's there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to turn it up and make a difference, maybe. I don't know if that's going to help. Do you think it'll help? Not really.
I think the girls might be.
The beers will help.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we just talk in that direction, just so the microphone. Okay, so that's great.
I'm actually surprised it's 20%.
That one's 15. And it's actually hitting me. I can feel it. I'm getting a little tipsy, so sorry if I start slurring my words.
John confirmed it's much better now.
I can hear us. Good, thanks, John. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the other 2 beers coming up. So we've talked about those. But before we do, I want to talk about, I'm going to make this cheese in a sec. If, George, can you pass me that book there? Good, thank you. Okay, so there's a number of things I want to talk about today, just in between our beer drinking. So this here is a book that's been just recently written, and it's the Riddles of the Shroud, questions scientists can't answer. Now, if you haven't, I was thinking the other day, whether you believe or don't believe, this book is an eye-opener, brilliantly written by a guy named William West, and he just so happens to be standing or sitting on my left. So this guy has written a book, and very impressed with it. I have not read it through, but I've cheated because Bill's told me a lot what's in there. But Bill, can you just tell us a little bit about what's in the book?
Okay, well, look, basically, like most people, I thought that the carbon dating of the shroud many years ago, in 1988, that was the final word, that it was fake. And there was a scientist that I listened to talking about it online one day. I just stumbled on it, and I was just amazed at what he was saying. So I thought, I'll have another look at that. And this is the result of it. It's just a fascinating thing, even if you're not religious. And most of the people who are actually really enthusiastic about this are not Catholics, and a lot of them are not even Christians. There are a lot of Jews, they're agnostics, atheists, and they're just absolutely fascinated by this thing. It's just impossible. I call it the impossible image because it's impossible to work out how a human being could have made this image.
Especially around the 1200s.
Absolutely. Well, they tried to date it at 1325, give or take 65 years.
Yeah.
And said that a medieval forger did it. Well, as far as I can see, no forger, no human being could make this thing, let alone a medieval forger. And all the evidence now points to the 1st century, not the Middle Ages. It came from the 1st century. Anyway, it's just a fascinating.
I like when you talk about the radiation.
Yeah, well, this is it. This is the thing. And this is, even the carbon daters accepted that the high level of carbon on the top, carbon-14, could be explained by a form of radiation. And it just so happens that the radiation explains the image.
Yeah.
This burst of ultraviolet light.
And the question is where that light come from.
Exactly.
That's the big question.
And the carbon dating said, we looked at that, we all agreed that radiation could have caused this, but of course radiation doesn't come from a dead body.
Yeah.
And that's what they left it.
And not in medieval times, so.
Well, in like medieval times, any time. You know?
Yeah.
It's just, the only explanation is sometimes,
Yeah.
people often say, well, if God did all those miracles back in biblical times, why doesn't he do them today? And this is evidence that he can, and he can, Anyway, that's my view of it, but it's a fascinating story, even if you don't accept that.
Well, whether you believe or don't believe, I mean, it's a great book to read, and I thought it was pretty good. I haven't finished it, but so I have put a link in this video for Amazon, Australia. Okay? I did not see anything on American Amazon.
Well, if you try to access it from Australia, you would say it's not available.
Yes.
But if you change your address, if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to order it from the States, you could probably get it cheap from the home country, in the UK or the US or whatever.
Yeah.
If you've got the right address, it'll come up fine.
Oh, will it?
Yeah, both the Kindle version, which you can get instantly, or the printed version, this one.
I got the printed version because I like this, because I don't have good eyes. So.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But the Kindle version is actually the better option. It's the cheaper option.
Yeah.
So when you're changing anything, that any new
it can be updated.
So you'll always have that update. Is that correct?
That's right. And the thing about the Kindle version is you just with a click, you can go straight to links to things like the slideshows, videos, talks, online talks, and all the rest. And it's quite magic. These days we take these things
for granted. Yeah.
But in past years, nobody had access to all the scientific.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Very good. Yeah. So I'll just grab the next beer.
So where is the Shroud now?
Oh, it's still there in Turin. They call it the Shroud of Turin because that's where it is now. But it's had different names over the centuries. In the beginning, it was called the image of Odessa. And at that stage, they thought it was just the face. But all of the images that they made of it were rectangular. And with a portrait of the face, it's normally the opposite. When they actually the Muslims got hold of it when they took over Odessa, and the people, the powers in Constantinople sent an army of 80,000 troops to get this image.
Wow.
And they brought it
and what year was that?
Constantinople. That was in 944.
So if it's 944, how can they carbon date it to 13?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, there's all this information now. So the carbon date is good for joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, they brought it back to Constantinople, and the very next day, the archdeacon of the big church, the Hagia Sophia, there in Constantinople, got up and announced to me, it's not just the face, it's the whole body. And it all took off from there. Yeah. Fascinating.
Bill, thank you very much. And I have got the link in the descriptions. So for any of you new viewers, welcome to Quantum Home Improvements and Solutions. Joining us for our brewing tasting live chat. So we've got William West, Peter Guy, Giuseppe, Chicken Nugget, and Joseph Suka. And we're now going to try the pale ale. Now this pale ale, which is my favourite beer, has been altered to suit Raj from India, who's at a 35-degree climate. Wow. He sent me a message to reach out to me. He said, can you brew something at 35 degrees? So I rang Cooper's. Cooper's then told me roughly what I need. I went to D from Country Brewers, and I ended up, and I'm going to have to read it, but I got the Quebec Yeast. Now, Quebec Yeast is from Norway. I don't know if you know that. You probably know that yeast.
No, I don't.
But it can be brewed between 25 to 40 degrees. Oh, wow. 35 is a good degree for that temperature. Now, what's interesting is that it's a very cold country, but you can brew to 35 degree, 40 degree. I mean, how does that happen? Anyway, it's a great.
It must be so cold outside, inside.
Yeah.
Nice and warm. So therefore.
I don't know how they do it. It just confuses me. Sorry,
yeah.
So when I made this brew, and I've got to read off this list here because it wasn't straightforward. Now, so I had to add, and in this case here, as Bill said, I added extra sugar to get it to a high percentage. Raj wanted to get it to 8 to 10%. Now, I don't know why to have a beer that high, but hey, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
So to do that, I added some dextrose sugar. Now, dextrose I found out is a pure sugar, no contaminant. Okay, so I added half a kilo of dextrose sugar, and also what happens to try to get a dry tasting beer, you need to use a dry enzyme. That will then help the yeast to consume all the sugar in that beer, and it becomes a low carb beer. So that's what I've done. And so I was aiming for a 20 litre, changing from Cooper's recommend 23 litre for these canister sizes, but I reduced it down to 21. I was originally aiming for 20 to aim for 8%. But with my fermenter, I sort of mucked that up because the Cooper's fermenter has to have an overpass of the water or the fluid to seal, airlock it. And so 20 litre only comes to the lip, so I had to go higher than that. So I went to 21 litre, which got me to 7.2%. Now again, this is a high percentage alcohol. I think we're going to be drinking a bit of coffee after this live chat. and it's pretty early. For you around the world, it's now 10:35 a.m. and we're drinking. All right.
While we're on this, we have Andy from England. He made a comment that he's currently sampling his Cooper's Brew A IPA at 5%.
Good. I haven't made an IPA.
IPA at 5%. So that's Andy from England.
So, beautiful. Thanks, Andy.
Good day, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever around the world.
Andy, pardon my ignorance. What time is it in England?
Have to be 1:30 in the morning, right?
Wow, he's an enthusiast.
Oh, he's getting ready for the rugby tonight.
Rugby.
He's getting ready for the
Rugby. I'm going to talk to you about rugby, Pete.
Well, we don't want to, there's no Kiwis here. They're a bit sad because they're no longer on the podium.
That is right. That is right.
That's nice.
It's nice.
You think
Nice, yeah.
Nice.
you like that?
Very nice.
Are you serious?
Yes, that's.
Okay.
You got Bill's passport. All
Bill doesn't like pale ales, by the way.
Oh, no, it's not that I don't like them, I just prefer the IPAs.
Yeah, but you like this one.
Yeah, yes, I love it.
Beautiful, because it's dry.
Yeah.
It's really dry.
That is very good. Yeah. It's got a bit of a kick.
Giuseppe, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't really drink pale ale. I'm more of a like lager, pilsner
Yep.
guy. Yeah, no, it's nice. It is a little dry, but yeah, it's good.
You're right. Andy's replied, it's 1:30 in the morning, and he's drinking Coopers as we speak.
Andy.
Cheers. Drink responsibly, but 1:30 in the morning.
Hey, we do have movie nights, and I've got a little gadget here, as Peter might know. So this here is a breathalyzer,
Yes.
so breath tester, and it's come in handy a couple of times already. So yeah, it's a great little tool. My wife bought it for me around about probably 15 years ago.
Was that your first wedding anniversary present she gave you?
No, we're married 33 years.
That was a halfway mark. So you had half a kilo of sugar.
Dextrose, yeah. Yeah, specifically dextrose because Dee from Country Brewer said make it pure. Let the yeast really consume that thing, just make it really pure. And
that increase.
I took her, that's right, and I took her advice, and you know what? She's been spot on. If anyone's looking to brew and you're in the Sydney area, try Country Brewers. They really know what they're talking about. And Dee has over 100 of her own recipes.
Wow.
Yeah. Right.
She has them on the wall, you just take them, she'll give you a photocopy of it, you can go home and make it. But hopefully you'll buy the ingredients from her.
So just I've got a question. With the additional dextrose,
Yeah.
do you increase the amount of yeast going into the brew as well?
No. No, just keep it the same. Yeah, yeah. That's an interesting question. I didn't even think of that. Yeah. What would you think, Bill?
I agree. It just because it finds its own way, it will increase to the point where.
So it'll just keep going, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
just
right.
keep going. Yeah. Okay. But you have to have enough to start it off.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to start with too little.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't need it.
Yeah.
And so most of the two parts to increase the percentage because the pale ale is
Yeah.
normally 4.85%.
It's about 5%. Yeah.
So you've added sugar, which increases, and then you've also decreased the amount of liquid, is that right? So
Yes.
523,
You're doing both. Yeah, you're doing both. Because if you've got too much liquid, it'll get a high percentage, but it won't reach the target that you want because you want to reduce the fluid a little bit. Yeah, and also, yeah, you've got to have that dry enzyme. That dry enzyme just knocks it down.
Yep.
As you can see, this is a low carb beer. If you have a problem with carbs, seriously, this is good. Just drink responsibly, as my friend George said. Sorry, Chicken Nugget said.
It's early morning here in Sydney, but
Yeah.
definitely drink responsibly. It's an early day, it's a long day.
Now, I want to just quickly touch on Joseph Suka. Now, Joseph is from Intellect Finance. So he does home loans, and he's done one for me, and very appreciative of that. And Peter's in the similar industry. Guys, can I just ask you, I'll start with Joe, how is the market, the Sydney market right now?
There's a lot of uncertainty in the rates the weather now. They've got up 1.25%, and we expect another rate rise. I'm not sure it's going to be 0.5%. It's going to be 1%, and a lot of people, and you can't really fix. I mean, people are confused because if you fixed it like a year ago, then you would have below 2%. But now you fix it, you're looking at 5 or 6%. And the Brewer rate's still cheaper, so it's a hard decision to make.
Yeah, it really does. I think as you said, it's that volatility and uncertainty. It's really hard to work. It's one thing, Bruce, I'd like to say is that just in relation to fraud and scams. One of the challenges that we've seen over the last probably 24 months is that people have been stuck at home. People have been Googling investment strategies. They've been Googling investment options. And unfortunately, scams have increased twofold over this time because people have seen things on Facebook, they've seen things through Google, and most of the time it's better rates, better investment options. And unfortunately, if it's looks too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. And the scammers out there, especially investment scams at the moment, they will set you up with a profile. You'll be able to log in. You'll be able to see where your investment's sitting. It's all fake. It's all algorithms. And unfortunately, we're seeing people lose hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars where they're investing. And a lot of this started during lockdown. Where people, didn't have much to do, had some spare cash because they were not spending. They weren't going out as much, weren't going on holidays. And we're seeing that come through now. So just be really wary and make sure that you're triple checking things. You're speaking to your family and friends. If you're unsure, check your bank. Give you
I mean, you can't mention which bank you're from, but you're pretty high up there, and you're now in the fraud section.
So working in fraud scams. It's been an eye-opener for me the last 6 months working in that fund. So it's really,
it's growing, isn't it?
Yeah, really emotional for many
Oh, for sure, they're losing their life savings.
Losing their life savings and thinking that they're making a great investment. And realistically, the money they invested was never invested.
What a shame.
If I could just put a quick
George, if you can read it out to us,
update. This is from Anthony English. He said, "Hey guys, so shout out to
Anthony.
And also our friend from England, Andy. He said, as a joke, I'd love to blow your whistle breathalyzer, but he goes, he says that it might blow up." So he's obviously had more than paraphrasing, but
that's funny.
back in England, I think it's summer there now at the moment.
Some of that.
There's some of there.
Heat wave.
It's about 22 degrees, isn't it?
Well, actually, it's going to get to 40 degrees.
No, in England.
England.
Hang on, between the south or where?
No, so the central and east.
Wow.
Wow.
And then, so they're not really sure what to do with themselves.
You're a lucky man, Andy. Probably kick to the beers.
Now I know why you're staying awake 1:30 in the morning. Oof, that's hot, man.
I just want to say, guys, I think I found my new favourite drink.
Honey one?
Hang on, which one? The plus?
It's sugar-free as well.
I think we're drinking too much. Okay, so I just want to ask George a question. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot. Now, George and I have been talking about YouTube. Now, George is a movie enthusiast, and I'm trying to get him to start up a YouTube channel on how to, no, not how, but doing movie reviews. George, are you still interested?
Look, I'm keen. But one thing I've noticed with YouTube is there's a monopoly. There's an abundance of YouTubers who review so many movies. And example, when a movie's removed, so Top Gun Maverick comes out, you go into YouTube and there's a million reviews. I'll be just one of those amongst the millions. But this is quite difficult to do this. So look, I'm not going to say no, but I kind of definitely.
I personally think that you should be reviewing old movies, bring them back.
The old classics. The old classics.
The classics. I think that's where it is.
Yeah.
That's where I see it. So we have movie nights, and we have them regularly, and we have State of Origin nights. So I have a theatre room which is in my roof, and it seats about 23 people. So it's great. It's a great night. And George is my go-to man for my movies. We try not to watch movies that pollute our eyes, our ears, our spirits.
Actually, what would be a good one is reviewing movies that you're able to watch with your kids.
Yeah. There's a couple of websites dedicated. There's decentfilms.com, which is from a Christian perspective, that sees some of the movies for the family necessity, what we can and can't watch. But I agree with what you're saying. There's going to be avenues, but they're out there.
There are avenues, though, but that would only be one part of it. You're still going to review, let's say, for example, one of your favourite movies that you brought to us and we watched it 5 times.
There was 2. There was
but what was it?
Gran Torino and Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge. This guy watched it in the movie 3 times. Then we had it here 5 times because every time we showed it, there was someone saying, Musa, I missed the night. Protection. I do not charge for these movie nights, so these are legal. There is no admission fee. But it's a great night. And Pete always comes to State of Origin.
Yeah.
He doesn't come to the movie night so much. But he still comes to a few of them.
You
Still comes to a few of them.
You forgot to mention that in your movie theatre room, you've got a beer fridge in the corner.
And that's where you sit.
That's right.
That's where it sits.
It's purely to support and to serve everyone else. I'm here as a servant to everyone else. And yes, that's how I always use at the end of the night. So.
Okay, guys, we've only got one more beer to taste now. Now, I want to talk. We'll try this beer, then I want to just touch on a couple of brews that are coming up, and we'll go from there.
While Musa gets the beer, Andy's replied back straight from England saying that he agrees, drink responsibly, but he said sorry, no. That's probably from his end, but from our end, we obviously have to. Our end, if we definitely would drink responsibly. 1:30 in the morning. I wish you well.
Okay, so this brew, Mexican Cerveza, or Mexicano Cerveza, just basically means Mexican beer. I did make a little bit different brew on this purposely because we are in winter at the moment, and I brewed this with a yeast that can go to a lower temperature. So this temperature here, I used the Cerveza W3470, and that can be brewed between 12 and 18 degree. So this is a really good. Now, generally, lagers and pale ales should be brewed at a lower temperature. Now, coopers say 21 to 28 degree. Now, I've had someone try one the other day, and they said, no, it's too high. In actual fact, it's wrong. Coopers make their beers with different yeast, and so you have to follow their recipe. If you brew it under 21 degree, what will happen, Bill? It won't ferment, and what will happen in the bottle? They'll explode. Yeah. They will explode. Please do not do that at home. Please do not do that at home. Is that yours, Bill?
Yes. Just a tip. If you use, basically it's the difference between top fermenting yeast and bottom fermenting yeast. You use the European yeast, which is actually designed for lower climates, and that's bottom fermenting yeast. Don't drink it for 3 months.
Yeah.
And they advise you to do that, and I made the mistake of, I thought, it's been a month, but I'll have a taste. It tasted like rotten egg.
Wow.
It put me off flavor for life, I've got to say, because you just get that taste and it's overwhelming.
Oh.
And even with a fully brewed beer, you can taste it, and it just puts you off. So don't do it. That's my advice. Just let it go for the whole 3 months. Yeah.
I've got to say, and this is just an appreciation for those who do home brewing, but mass production, those who do the other side, the flip side of the mass production. Because you go to the local beer facility places and buy a damn Murphy, got millions and billions. So there's factories and facilities
Yeah.
to facilitate the mass production. We don't really see the big picture.
Yeah.
It's in the local brewers, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. As you say, Bill, there's so much malt
Yeah.
on a mass level.
Yes, yes.
So if I stick to the recipe of Cooper's, now I changed it because we are in winter. And so if I need to raise my temperature on my brew, I do use this Morgan heat pad, and that'll raise the temperature up, and it works really well. Do you use one of these, Pete?
I've got heat belts.
Okay.
Similar.
Yeah, now this here, the heat radiates upwards, so it's heated from underneath.
Yeah.
But I do put a blanket around to actually let that, if it's not warm enough,
Yeah.
And this worked really well. I've got to say, this helped me get the 35 degree that I needed
Yes.
for the pale ale. It worked really well. I've got to say, this helped me get the 35 degree that I needed
Yes.
for the pale ale, because I needed to get the 35 degree, and that helped me for that. But
Another way to do it is just get yourself a heat box, even a blanket box,
yeah,
and you add a line to there. And it doesn't, you only.
the light is perfect.
Yeah, 60 bucks is actually probably too much.
So,
Even
yeah.
45
Oh,
bucks.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and
Just a
it'll
halogen
keep it
light.
warm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, not an LED.
No,
That won't go anywhere.
That's right.
Yeah,
You
but,
don't get any warmth out of that.
So this is 3.8%. It's a lot lower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice, it's
Yeah, it's a good,
nice taste.
yeah.
Good in the afternoon.
And this is a lager.
Yeah.
Okay. So Bill just said you like lager. So sorry about that, Bill.
That's not too bad, because it depends on the yeast.
Yeah.
If it's one for many years. well,
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing.
It is, and look, again, Dee has come through for me. She's spot on. I did exactly what she told me to do, and it worked well. Now, one thing I'm going to have to say, and I do need to mention this because Pete and I experienced something. I have to say, and I do need to mention this because Pete and I experienced something recently. Now, I do use the Cooper's plastic bottles. Okay, I am thinking of going to glass in the future, but it's quite expensive, especially if someone drops it. So with these bottles, they do come with the Cooper kit, and you might need to buy some extras. But one thing is for sure is that you need to change the lids regularly. If you don't, they will seep. They won't seal properly. So I'm now going through and changing all my lids. There was a batch there that they were really soft. It was a state of origin night, and it was not enjoyable. You don't want to drink beer that's lost its, fizz. That's correct.
A little bit flat, there wasn't much of a head.
Yeah.
Didn't stop us drinking it.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest.
It didn't stop them at all.
No, definitely didn't stop us. Yeah, all those little things count.
So guys, what do you think? Again, I'm going to start with Giuseppe.
Yeah, it's very nice. Like a good summer beer, I reckon. Like you know,
It's light too.
yeah, it's very light. Not
Lightish.
alcohol. Yeah, 3.8%. So yeah, no, enjoyable. Yeah.
George, what do you think?
Love it. I could have a whole 2 or 3 of these.
I've got some in the back room.
Yeah.
Now this is only 7 weeks old, and as what Bill said, I don't drink my beers for 2.5 months. So this is not fully flavoured yet. I don't believe it's fully fit. So it's a little bit green. I did actually want to have it in this live chat because I released the video last night. It is a nice tasting beer. I tasted this on the video. You'll see me doing it. I tasted the beer from the hydrometer cylinder, and I've got to tell you, it was actually nice at that point.
Wow.
And this is just brewed at 8 days. Now, I brew at 8 days for a reason.
Yeah.
Cooper suggests 6 days. Peter goes to 12, and I know why he goes to 12. You don't want sediment in your beer, okay? When I went to 12, because it's a hotter climate, when it is a hotter climate, it will actually, it makes you a beer aesthetic, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and it doesn't taste good. So you've got to be careful when you go to 12 days. Be really, really careful. Coopers don't recommend it. But if you alter your ingredients, you can start playing around with it, and that's what Pete's doing. So you've got to know what you're doing. Get some advice first before you make it, so you don't waste the batch. So I actually go 8 days, and Coopers have confirmed that's not too bad. They say 6 though. Remember that on their directions they say 6. So 8 days. That looks pretty settled. I don't know if you see from there. That looks pretty settled. Pretty clean.
The prop was pretty good.
It's fantastic. I'm a lager, pale ale guy. For me, pale ale and lager are similar. So my first brew was a lager. I think I told the story on the first video, on the real ale video. My wife bought me the brew kit. It's actually now 15 years ago, and I made the brew. This is what you were saying, Bill. And I tasted it on around the 23rd day. I think I can't remember exactly, and I nearly spat it out.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And God rest his soul, my neighbour, who unfortunately had an accident on the water in Bateman's Bay, and I'll mention his name, Sam, I know his surname, it was at the wrong temperature, 18 degree.
So, what?
Yeah, using the wrong yeast, everything, wrong advice, 18 degree.
So, what?
Yeah, using the wrong yeast, everything, wrong advice, right?
Yeah.
So it was around the 2.5 month time. He said, Moose, I want to try your beer. And I said, so,
Yeah.
so it was around the 2.5 month time. He said, Moose, I want to try your beer. And I said, Sam, it's not good, man, it's rubbish.
Yeah.
My first brew. And I said, but I want to try yours. He goes, no, they keep exploding. I said, well, they're exploding because I just only learned back then that he hadn't brewed at the right temperature.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we sat down at his place. I had my brew in an esky. He had his brew from his fridge. We opened the bottle. But what was left, it was still in the bottle. We tasted it. It tastes beautiful. I like it. It just wasn't brewed at the right temperature.
Yeah.
Then we tasted mine. It's now 2.5 months. And I got him to taste it. I didn't taste it. And Sam goes, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, you're really thirsty. Anyway, so I had a taste, and it blew me away.
Yeah.
At 2.5 months, it was beautiful.
Yeah, with beer time, it makes most sense.
Yeah. Wow, it was really nice. So I'm a lager guy, and I'm a pale ale guy, but pale ale is definitely exceeded. Now, I had a question, question from someone yesterday, asking me what's my favourite beer.
Is it
Mine's honey mead now. I'm a honey person.
I'm going to be honest, pale ale is still my favourite.
Just going to put the commentary there from Andy from England. He just said that he's coming up to the weekend and it is threatening 40 degrees where it is in the UK. Then he goes, is there anything you can do without a fridge? He's basically telling us without the fridge we couldn't do
Yeah,
what
for
we
sure.
can do with the
Sure.
beer. So cheers to the fridge.
Okay, so we're almost done here, but what I want to talk about just quickly. Okay, so again, my first brew, I'm not sure which one's which. Okay, there it is there. There it is. That's what comes with the kit, with the Cooper's kit. It's a lager, the yeast is on top, you use everything they have. I would suggest stick to if you're going to do it for the first time, stick to the recipe, watch the video how I do it. Do not put the hydrometer in the fermenter as I did on my first video. I had everything sterilised, but I was corrected by Frank, and rightly so, by D from Country Brewers. Everything needs to be sanitised and sterilised. Okay, you can contaminate your beer. I did have a troll say to me, mate, you spend too much time on your sanitize, and I don't sanitize anything. Yeah. That guy must be an alcoholic because he probably can't taste the difference. Seriously, it does not come out a nice tasting beer. No. It does not. Do you agree with that?
Well, you can do it just by very hot water.
Yeah.
You don't need sanitizer necessarily, but yeah, you do have to sanitize it somehow.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if there's something that's contaminated in there, it will contaminate the beer.
Right.
So if you haven't done it properly, not everyone does everything properly, it will contaminate.
Yes.
And it's going to take a decent, it's going to be the foulest tasting beer. I've not had one yet, so I follow everything to the letter. So if you follow this to the letter, I think it's going to work out really well. And then as you get more experience, I've been doing it for 15 years, you work out really well. And then as you get more experience, I've been doing it for 15 years, you start experimenting more and more. And I'm learning more and more as I'm venturing out to outside the circle. Now, outside the square, I should say. Now, so the next brew I'm looking to make is Coopers have a Thomas range of beer. So it's a high-end beer. This is the lager. I've never brewed it before, but I will brew the Thomas Golden Crown. Okay, so I'm going to be brewing that. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the yeast. I might change the yeast to the Sev lager, so at a lower temperature, purposely. Okay, so Thomas Cooper is the original founder of Cooper's Beer. So I will be doing that as the next. I've already made the pale ale. Eventually, I will make the lager as well, just the basic lager. Anyway, so guys, I'm going to say, I think we'll round up now, finish it up. Is last thoughts, first of all?
I've got a friend that's a beekeeper, and I'm thinking I can get you some really cheap honey.
I've got a better idea. How about if he gives you the honey and you give it a shot? I will.
Good. And I'm going to say just parting thoughts and words. Thanks, gents. It was a great day for those around the world, globally, whether it's morning, evening, or night. Thank you. It was actually fantastic. Great success.
Thanks for joining us, George. Giuseppe, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed the first one, the lager. I like the goodness of that beer, greatness in beer. Thanks again for having me here.
No, it's good. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for reaching out for us, to me, and it's great to have you here. Thanks for the support. And everyone who is watching, thank you for your support as well. Without your support, there isn't a YouTube channel. So thank you very much. And Pete, what your last thoughts?
I think Mercer just talked about beer and the production. Listening to Bill was fantastic. I'll brew every 2 or 3 months and haven't for a while, so I'll probably be popping in the country real soon.
Bill?
Well, I just say great work, Wilson, and all good.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks to you guys. Yeah, I've been talking a lot to Bill and brewing over the years, so thanks for joining us, Bill. When I made the first video, I really meant I wanted to have on a video, and this is good enough. I'm really happy that you're here. I hope your book goes well. As I said, the link will be below for the book of the Shroud. So also one thing I want to mention, and I can't remember. Now I remember. Joe, you're part of
Joe's been well.
The beers were good, but officially, I'm only going to drink honey. I was just honey without a glass, and you're done.
I'm going to have to ring Karen and tell you. I'll drive you home. Don't forget fertilizer. Okay, so guys, I'm thinking of doing this because I will be brewing beers probably once every 3 to 4 months. Put a video out there. Keep promoting the Cooper's brand. I really enjoy it. I will venture out outside of Cooper's probably in a couple of years, but for now, I'm very happy just doing the Cooper's beers because they've got such a large range, and I'm really looking to discover more. So the question is this: would you like to join us on another live chat in the future? Probably be maybe 6 months or a year from now, but yeah. So we'll have it again. And then the thing I need to say, as George has been saying, please drink responsibly. It's really important. It's great to drink beer, but also at the same time, it's great to be responsible. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. And thank you very much for your support.
Thanks, Cooper. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers.
And we're all right.